Winnipeg Jets win a very weird game 4-0 against the Vancouver Canucks in Connor Hellebuyck's first shutout of the 2021 NHL campaign again for him. First shutout after having a pretty good game. And this is a game where, for the Winnipeg Jets, if you are the Winnipeg Jets, it's one where you can look at it and be like, okay, you can micromanage and pick out all these different issues that the team might have had at times and little things here and there and blah, 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 and all these different things that go on and on and on. Like I've done in my own videos talking about little things that I don't like and how I think that affects the game. But in this game in particular, especially after I'm feeling after that, I don't really care. Like, yeah, the Jets may have made times where I didn't like certain elements of their game, or where they had, problems from the past showing up again and, biting them in the butt a little bit, chasing in their own zone, all these little things that happen to every hockey team. But tonight it didn't matter because finally the Jets offense, in my opinion, played really well, because the Jets offense tonight didn't have a lot of prime scoring opportunities because they actually had to work and generate hard-working opportunities to score, and that's basically what this game was. That's why they didn't score a lot throughout this game until the third period, because they had to wear down the Canucks, and it just eventually, they broke through and were able to pile on a couple at the end of the game. And nothing like the Canucks played bad either. Like, this was a very good game for both teams. The Canucks at times were turning the puck over a lot, but in my opinion, the Jets did the same thing in the neutral zone. So again, tomato, picking negatives in a game where you don't really need to pick any, because both teams played well. The Jets were just able to create more opportunity and score off those opportunities, and they worked really hard to create them. Like the Jets, like I said, there were no glorious opportunities. Even that 2-on-1, is generated because of the fact that Wheeler is able to pick off that pass that JT Miller misses in the neutral zone, and is able to convert that into a 2-on-1 where he perfectly times Nate Schmidt's slide and puts it 5-hole in on Demko in a perfect play, right? And that's the type of game this was that the Jets finally were able to connect on a 2-on-1, mind you, and were able to play a good, smart brand of hockey that was consistent from the puck drop to the end of the third period. And that's what I've been saying the Jets needed to do. I don't care if the Jets lost this game or won this game, really, because all I wanted to see in this game was them come out and give a solid, complete performance where they didn't choke something. And although they were chasing a bit of the third, and the Canucks, giving them credit, they were able to come on at the end in times, and they also hit a ton of posts, mind you. But all of that being considered, I liked the Jets game. Maybe there was a little bit of luck involved, but who cares? Because, like I said, you're picking out such minuscule negativities within this team that there's no real point, because it didn't affect this team's win, in my opinion. The only complaint I would have with this team that I thought was significant was really in the first period only, and that was the defense forcing passes into the neutral zone instead of joining the rush with the forwards. They were kind of forcing the play, forcing a pass, and it was getting picked off a lot, turnovers in the neutral zone. And minus that in the second and third, I thought they were really able to shore it up well. Logan Stanley had another good game. If the guy can just hit the net, he would have 10 goals by now, I feel like, if everything he was shooting was on net being directed, because everything he seems to shoot is just going left or right, just a little bit wide of the net. And I can't wait to see him hone his shot in and become a little bit more focused when he releases that thing, because it's a cannon, and sooner or later he's going to start to put up really good point numbers at an NHL level because of how good his shot is. I really do see a good, potentially really good player within Logan Stanley and how he's developing game by game. I'm really impressed with him this season, and I'm happy to have him playing in the lineup. Thank God Nathan Beaulieu isn't playing right now. I know it's because of an injury, so I wish him a speedy recovery, but I'm very happy with Logan Stanley because he got pulled out after playing well in the start of the season, then comes back to fill in for an injury, and in my opinion has grown stronger and stronger off of every performance that he's been able to play since coming in to replace Nathan Beaulieu, and I'm very happy to see that. Now, the other player that I think I need to talk about, obviously, is the 2-goal performance from Adam Lowry, because Adam Lowry was really good all game long. I've been talking and praising this third line of Adam Lowry, Kopp, and Appleton for a while now, and this was one of their better games. They were flying all over the ice. They were able to kill penalties amazingly, and not to mention the fact that I think the Jets' best penalty kill of the season came in the second period of this game, where they were just able to dominate and to control the puck on both ends of the ice. There was a point on that penalty kill where Adam Lowry was able to dangle his way into the Canucks zone on like a 3-on-1, and then have time to pass it all the way back to his own zone to an open Tucker Pullman, who could just kill off another 10 seconds, then hammer it back down the net. There was a lot of good play on tonight on the penalty kill, in my opinion, and the Jets had a really good penalty kill for once, and I was really impressed with it, and I'm happy to see that. Another positive in a game where the Jets worked really hard to secure a win, and thank God Connor Hellebuyck got a shutout, because although he maybe didn't deserve a shutout, loose quotations, because it wasn't his strongest game of the season, but after the way things have been going for him the last few games, games and the weeks and how he's been hung out to dry a lot, especially in that Montreal series. I'm just happy to see him get this because he deserves to have a shutout, and he deserves a lot more shutouts. He's been fantastic for the Jets this year, and even today, like, I was watching the Sportsnet feed of this game because locally that was what the channel was on for me since I'm in Vancouver, and honestly, they were just talking about how Connor Hellebuyck's been struggling a lot this week, and I'm like, Connor Hellebuyck has not been struggling. The Jets' defense has been struggling, and it's allowed a lot of opportunities on Hellebuyck where he's been hung out to dry. Like, it was one of those situations where the commentators aren't watching the Jets consistently, so they don't know what's happening in their game-to-game. If you look at his stats, obviously it looks like he's struggling, but he's not struggling. It's the team was struggling in front of him. And it's just nice to have Connor Hellebuyck after that type of performance, after the way the commentators were talking about him, to come out, bounce back, get a shutout, even though it wasn't really a bounce-back game because he's been playing well for the last all season, basically. And I'm just happy to see this guy get a shutout because he absolutely deserves it. A fantastic game for Connor Hellebuyck because the guy deserves it. Like, how many times do we need to say that? Like, he just does. Like, Connor Hellebuyck deserved this, and I'm really glad the team was able to pull through and give it to him because they didn't seem like he was going to be able to get that, man. Like, was I the only Jets fan that was on the edge of the seat just because I knew the Canucks weren't going to win, but I just didn't want them to score a goal. I was so scared that we were going to botch this and Hellebuyck was going to have to go down on a 4-1 win or some dumb shit like that. I was so upset if that would have happened because like I said, he deserved this, so thank God he was able to get that shutout. And honestly, I don't know really what else that I would need to point out because I just was happy with the way the team played. I thought that this was a good stepping stone for the Jets because they had to work hard for their offensive chances, and the top line played really well. And that's something that I thought was important because the top line was really outmatched by speed, especially as the game went on in Edmonton. McDavid and Draisaitl just wore them down and were able to outplay them a lot of the time. And in my opinion, Blake Wheeler was one of the best Jets in tonight's game by far. He was just fantastic. He was really, really all over the ice at times, and he was just a really good presence. So it's something you're really happy to see from a guy like Wheeler after struggling. And honestly, same with Stastny and Scheifele because Stastny was able to get that goal from where Demko is leaving to go into the bench so they can get the extra attacker. But unfortunately, there's a little holdup at the Canucks blue line. The puck goes back in. He has to go back in net. Doesn't have time to set, and Stastny beats him on the blocker side, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a great goal because Stastny deserved that goal because the first line, like I said, struggled in that Edmonton series. And I was happy to see them come out tonight, match well against the Canucks and play just a really good brand of hockey, I thought, almost all night. Wheeler was hard on the puck all night behind the corners. He was dangling Nate Schmidt for a lot of the game, and I was just really happy with the way he played, and I'm really happy to see Wheeler have a performance like this because I've been a heavy criticizer of Blake Wheeler this year, and a lot of other people have too. It isn't because I don't like the guy, it's because I care a lot about him, and I think he's a great player and a great leader, and I just want to see him do better because I know he can. And this was Blake Wheeler playing the best that Blake Wheeler could, and I was just really happy with his performance tonight. And the captain really, really showed up. The wrench showed up, and he was really able to help us secure the bag tonight, along with Lowry and Stastny obviously getting those goals. And I just really liked the way that this team played tonight. Like, I don't know really how much I need to harken on that. Like, it was one of those games where, like I said, I could just point out negatives and spend the whole video talking about that and being pessimistic, or I could be like, the Jets won, they made mistakes, but they were able to work hard for their chances and play a good brand of hockey from end puck drop to the buzzer. And I think that that's all they really needed to do tonight to prove that they're still a very good team. And not to mention the fact that, in my opinion, this was a great game for the defense because the defense was basically all played within 5 minutes of each other. And what I mean by that is that there was no one playing like 30 minutes because everyone was playing kind of an equal amount of time. And I think that that's really important for our D-cores to not overwork guys like Morrissey, like Pionk or hell, even Forbert, and even like guys like Pullman and Bully, like we've seen in the past 27-minute nights. That was something that I thought was really good by Paul Maurice and Huddy to balance out those players. I think it worked well because the defense was pretty on point tonight at times, although they chased at sometimes. It was mostly just because of the personnel being outplayed by really good forwards, so there's not much I can criticize there other than they were just outplayed because that's just what the Jets defense gets at sometimes. They're not the best and they get outplayed at times, but they weren't playing bad hockey. They weren't playing a bad brand, and that's all that I really care about, is that they were able to play good hockey, competitive hockey, and help get the team a win. Now, I'm curious to know what all of your guys' thoughts were on this game. Canuck fans, Jets fans alike, let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know your thoughts on everything to do with it. I'm always curious to hear what you guys' thoughts are on these games, and also just on your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets, and regardless of all that stuff. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, if you're a fan of hockey, regardless of the team you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription, as we've just passed 750 subscribers and are trying to roll to that 800 mark on that road to 1K subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing if you choose to, and showing support to the channel. It really means a lot. Follow my Twitter, link in the description. As always, turn on notifications if you haven't already. Peace, love, and positivity as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.